The future of work isn't a what if anymore. It is happening right now. Technical writers and DJs are actively being replaced today. Intro music. Welcome to this deep dive. I am really glad you are here with us. We are looking at a fascinating shift today. Our mission is to explore the displacement and the rapid development of the global AI economy.
Yeah, we've got some incredibly striking new data to parse. We are looking at real job losses. We are seeing insane AI capital deployment, and we are analyzing a surprising new battleground. It's an area where the U.S. is actively losing ground to China.
It's a profound moment in human history. We're trying to really understand this transition, so we want to stay clear and grounded. We're going to look at the raw facts.
Exactly. We have to follow the data.
Right. Let's start by examining the labor market. The Bureau of Labor Statistics just released new data. It covers May 2024 to May 2025.
Right, and the numbers are incredibly revealing.
You really are. They tracked 18 specific occupations. These are roles that are highly exposed to AI. That represents about 10 million workers in the U.S. economy.
Which is a huge slice of the workforce.
It is. Now, overall, U.S. employment actually grew by 0.8% in that time frame. But those 18 AI-exposed fields, they saw a 0.2% drop.
That divergence is the real story here. The broader economy is growing, but this specific slice is shrinking.
Yeah.
And it gets even starker when you dig deeper into the numbers. Because the healthcare sector is booming right now.
Right, healthcare is just pulling everything up.
Exactly, it's lifting the averages. If you remove healthcare from the equation entirely, the reality shifts. Employment in the other 17 AI-exposed fields actually fell 1.6%, and that for the second consecutive year.
Let's pause and really think about that. A 1.6% drop across 17 massive industries.
Yeah.
It is not a sudden collapse. It is a slow, steady contraction. We can look at the specific roles affected to really understand the mechanism here.
I think that's where it gets real for people.
Definitely. Technical writers saw an 18.1% decline in just one single year.
That is a staggering number. Nearly 1 in 5 technical writing jobs just vanished.
Gone.
Think about what a technical writer actually does all day. They talk to engineers. They read raw software code. Then they synthesize that into readable manuals for end users.
It makes complete sense when you understand the underlying technology. Large language models excel at synthesizing complex, structured information.
Right. That is exactly what they do best.
They can ingest an entire GitHub repository in seconds. They output perfectly formatted documentation instantly. Humans simply cannot compete with that raw speed.
No, they can't. It's just not physically possible.
And it's not just tech writing. We also saw radio announcers and DJs drop by 11.1%.
Voice cloning technology has become practically flawless over the last year. Local radio stations are operating on razor-thin margins anyway.
Right, they're desperate to cut costs.
So they're automating their entire daily broadcasts. Graphic designers also fell 7.7%. Yeah. Generative image tools are handling the heavy lifting for basic corporate layouts now. You don't need a designer for a simple flyer anymore.
We also need to look closely at customer support. This is a massive segment of the global workforce.
Huge.
Customer support departments shed over 130,000 jobs. That is a 4.8% drop in a single year. Conversational AI tools are completely taking over.
Right, and it isn't just basic, frustrating chatbots anymore. People need to realize these are sophisticated, autonomous agents. They plug directly into inventory databases, they handle complex customer routing, authorize refunds, and they even negotiate shipping instantly.
It's remarkable.
But we should clarify, it isn't bad news across the board. We are seeing something researchers call the jagged frontier.
The jagged frontier is a deeply fascinating concept. I really love this framework. It describes an uneven landscape of AI capability.
Exactly.
AI is terrible at some highly complex human tasks. It completely fails at basic logic puzzles sometimes, but it is superhuman at routine, structured, repetitive tasks.
Exactly. It's highly situational. In fields where AI acts as a collaborative assistant, we are actually seeing a very healthy transition.
Right.
It is shifting human talent toward complex work. We are seeing more strategy-driven and empathetic roles emerge.
It's like water finding the cracks in a foundation. AI is eroding the routine, repetitive tasks first, forcing human talent to seek higher, more complex ground.
That water analogy is spot on. It really shows how the erosion is silent. You don't realize the foundation is gone until the entire house shifts.
Yeah, the simple copy-pasting tasks are being completely washed away, but the high-level architecture, that remains human.
When you really look at these DLS numbers, it's not just a dip. We are watching a fundamental restructuring of work.
So this isn't a massive cliff, but a forced reallocation of skills.
Exactly. The repetitive work is vanishing, but the high-level strategic work is expanding rapidly as a direct result.
Right. Routine jobs shrink, but complex, empathetic roles grow.
And that shifting labor force brings us directly to the machinery replacing it. If human labor is shifting this dramatically, we have to follow the money. The scale of capital deployment right now is truly mind-bending.
It is hard to even comprehend the numbers involved. We are seeing massive historic investments in raw compute power.
Yeah.
Just 34 top AI startups now generate $80 billion in annualized revenue.
Let me repeat that for context. $80 billion. That marks a 112% increase from just 6 months ago.
That is unreal.
The growth curve is practically vertical right now.
And the market is incredibly concentrated at the very top. OpenAI and Anthropic alone capture 89% of that enterprise revenue.
It is a massive duopoly in the enterprise space. Companies are throwing unprecedented amounts of money at these models.
They really are.
Salesforce is a prime example of this spending trend. They are projected to spend $300 million on Anthropic tokens alone.
2-6 silence. $300 million. Just on API calls.
Yep.
That shows an incredible level of enterprise trust in the system's output.
Marc Benioff actually called the impact unprecedented for his engineering teams. They are using autonomous AI coding agents across their entire software stack. They are seeing massive productivity boosts across the board. The code generation is just insanely fast.
And the models are getting cheaper and smarter simultaneously. GPT 5.5 just hit a major engineering milestone. It became the first AI model to solve a real program bench coding instance.
Yeah. And for anyone unfamiliar, Program Bench isn't just a simple code riddle.
No, it's not.
It is a benchmark that mimics massive, complex, real-world software engineering environments. And GPT 5.5 fully beat Opus 4.7 across every single metric.
Wow.
Plus, it costs 3 times less in some specific runs.
The capability of these coding agents is staggering. I still wrestle with prompt drift myself, so I can't imagine setting loose autonomous coding agents.
It takes a huge leap of faith in the system architecture, especially when the meter is constantly running on API costs.
Yeah, that's the scary part.
There was a wild story about OpenClaw recently. The creator reportedly burned through $1.3 million in OpenAI API credits.
Oh my God.
And that was just in a 30-day window running 100 Codex agents. Whoa, imagine scaling to 1 billion queries without realizing the meter is running.
That is an incredibly expensive lesson in runaway automation. You script an agent to fix a bug and it loops 10,000 times a minute.
Exactly, it just burns cash.
But that is the chaotic side of this frontier. We see a stark contrast when we look at global public adoption. Some places are trying to smooth out that friction.
Right.
Europe's first nationwide ChatGPT Plus giveaway just happened.
Yeah, Malta is now offering every single citizen free access. They give them ChatGPT Plus and Copilot entirely for free.
Which is huge.
The citizens just have to complete a basic AI literacy course first.
It is a brilliant approach to top-down national education. But in the U.S., that friction is being smoothed out by consumer hardware instead. Apple's Siri revamp includes deep ChatGPT-style conversations directly in the operating system.
But they are taking a very different approach to user privacy.
Yeah.
They are introducing automatic deletion settings right out of the gate.
Right.
You can erase your chat history after 30 days, 1 year, or keep them forever.
They are trying desperately to reduce the friction of adoption. But despite all this enterprise investment, there is deep public skepticism.
Oh, absolutely.
We are seeing a massive anti-AI wave forming in the culture.
The public relations crisis is growing rapidly. New polls show over 70% of Americans now view AI negatively.
Wow.
That is up sharply from just 3 years ago.
People are feeling deeply overwhelmed by the rapid changes. They see the tangible job losses we discussed earlier.
Yeah.
And they see viral videos highlighting the inherent weirdness of AI.
Like that viral Dunder Mifflin video?
Yeah.
Someone turned Claude into an intern at the office.
Oh, I saw that.
It showed the AI surviving its chaotic first day in a corporate environment. It fits the corporate absurdity perfectly.
It is funny, but it highlights a much deeper underlying anxiety. People feel like they're losing control of their own workflows. Are enterprise budgets outpacing public trust?
Undoubtedly. Companies are spending billions to automate operations, while everyday people are increasingly terrified of the societal consequences.
Exactly. Massive corporate spending, but huge public skepticism remains. Sponsor.
Welcome back. We've been discussing the text and coding domains. The U.S. labs clearly dominate those specific technical areas, but there is a massive blind spot emerging on the global stage.
We really need to talk about the video-bounded moat. This is where the geographic narrative completely flips. China has effectively left the U.S. behind in AI video generation.
We are simply reporting the technical data here. The latest benchmarks show Chinese models vastly outperforming Western rivals.
Yeah.
We are looking at specific models like Seedance 2.0 and Kling.
They're consistently beating U.S. models in photorealism and prompt adherence. They also have vastly superior camera stability during complex movement. This became obvious when OpenAI made a major strategic decision. They quietly shut down their highly anticipated Sora model.
That sudden exit left the field wide open for international competitors. OpenAI killed Sora because of massive infrastructure overhead.
Right.
Generating pixels is exponentially harder than generating text tokens. It simply didn't make commercial sense for them to run it at scale.
Video generation requires an astonishing amount of raw compute. But more importantly, it requires an infinite amount of proprietary training data.
Exactly.
That data is the true moat we are discussing here.
ByteDance owns TikTok and CapCut. Kuaishou operates massive, short video platforms all across Asia. They possess proprietary training libraries that American labs simply cannot replicate.
Think about what is actually on TikTok. They have billions of hours of unstructured human motion.
Yeah.
They have every conceivable camera angle, weird lighting condition, and physical interaction. U.S. companies simply do not have that raw physical data to train their physics engines on.
And the Chinese companies are moving incredibly fast to monetize this. Kuaishou's Kling model is scaling at an unprecedented rate globally.
Right.
They're actually exploring a standalone public listing right now, just to fuel that expansion.
We also have to look at the user experience driving this shift.
Mm-hmm.
American tools constantly throw ambiguous errors during the generation process.
It's a little frustrating.
They actively block prompts due to extremely strict safety guardrails.
It creates a deeply frustrating experience for media professionals. Imagine an ad agency trying to render a dynamic car commercial. An American model might block a fast-tracking shot with motion blur. It might trigger a vague safety policy about glorifying reckless driving.
Meanwhile, the Chinese models easily handle aggressive camera angles. They process high-speed motion without any hesitation or arbitrary blocking.
Right.
They also handle complex audio sync flawlessly, matching lip movements to generated speech.
Western alternatives simply cannot match their temporal consistency right now. The characters in Western models tend to melt or change clothes between camera cuts.
Let's clarify what temporal consistency actually means. Keeping characters and backgrounds looking exactly the same frame by frame.
Right. Early AI video was a morphing, hallucinating mess. If someone turned their head, they might grow an extra ear.
Yeah, it was terrifying.
Now, Kling can generate a character walking through a crowded street, and their jacket stays perfectly solid the entire time.
This performance gap is causing a massive shift in enterprise media spending. ByteDance is now charging U.S. enterprise clients up to $2 million.
Wow.
That is an upfront commitment just for top-tier API access?
And Western companies are eagerly paying it. They desperately need these tools to stay competitive in commercial media production. If the American models block their creative workflows with safety filters, they will simply move their budgets abroad.
I want to examine the root cause here. Is the U.S. losing simply because of safety ethics, or is it fundamentally a lack of raw proprietary video data?
It's both. But the proprietary data is the insurmountable wall. TikTok's endless stream of human movement provides training examples. U.S. labs simply cannot scrape from the public web.
Yeah. Superior performance and fewer restrictions will inevitably win out.
So we have talked a lot about massive corporate moats today. We have talked about $80 billion monopolies and international data wars.
Right.
It can feel very alienating for the individual listener trying to navigate this space.
It is incredibly important to bring this back down to the micro level. Despite these massive geopolitical shifts, independent developers are still building.
Yeah, they really are.
Individual creators are getting incredibly powerful new tools.
The individual toolkit has honestly never been more robust. There's a whole new wave of empowered AI tools hitting the market. They allow individuals to build their own highly customized workflows without relying on massive studio infrastructure.
Well, if you get a few specific examples today to see how this works in practice. Vago is a tool specifically for generating narrative videos.
Right.
It solves the exact continuity problem we were just discussing.
It generates consistently compelling narrative videos. But the magic is that it does it without the annoying prompt engineering.
Oh, that's huge.
Normally, you have to write a massive, complex prompt for every single scene to maintain your aesthetic. Vavago ensures every single scene stays on brand automatically.
Then there is the audio space, which is evolving just as fast. SUN to Spotify is a really interesting new distribution platform.
Yeah, I love this one.
You can create complete AI podcasts and audiobooks entirely from scratch.
And you can publish them directly to your Spotify library. The pain point of managing RSS feeds and complex audio distribution pipelines is gone.
That saves so much time.
It is instantly ready for streaming or offline listening. It bypasses the traditional publisher networks completely.
We're also seeing foundational tools for pure developers. The Files SDK is a unified storage system that is gaining huge traction.
Right.
It works seamlessly for both object and blob backends.
It gives developers an escape hatch. Normally, you are locked into whatever back-end cloud storage system you use. But this standardizes the inputs and outputs, meaning developers aren't trapped in a single corporate ecosystem. It uses standard web I/O.
Nice.
It gives developers total control over their data architecture.
And for web designers, there's Kirky. WordPress still powers nearly half the internet. Kirky gives those WordPress designers a free-form, infinite canvas to work on.
You can design layouts freely without any imposed rigid block structure. It breaks the old UI constraints.
Right.
Comes with over 100 template kits. And the best part is, it is completely free for all users.
It's like stacking Lego blocks of data. You pick the exact tool you need to build your custom workflow.
That is the real beauty of this current era. The big foundational models provide the massive raw compute engine. But these smaller open source tools give you the steering wheel to actually drive it.
It completely democratizes access to incredibly complex systems. Do these niche tools decentralize power back to the user?
Yes, absolutely. They allow a single talented person to execute ideas that used to require an entire studio or development team.
Got it. Big tech builds the engine, we drive the car.
We have covered a massive amount of ground today. We started by looking closely at the hard reality of job losses.
Yeah, we did.
The global AI economy is actively, tangibly rearranging the labor market.
We saw 18 AI-exposed fields shrink while the broader U.S. economy actually grew. We watched technical writers and customer support agents face real, immediate displacement as their core workflows were automated.
We then explored the $80 billion enterprise value explosion. We saw massive U.S. dominance in text and coding generation, driven by historic corporate spending.
But we also identified stark geographical lines being drawn right now. The U.S. is hitting a massive wall in video generation.
Right.
Chinese tech giants are leveraging their incredibly deep proprietary data moats. They're defining the absolute next frontier of media creation.
The technological landscape is shifting faster than anyone predicted.
I want to thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We always aim to look past the hype and really examine the underlying data.
Absolutely.
But data always leads to deeper, more human questions. If Chinese models become the undisputed global standard for generating video and media, how will that subtle shift shape the cultural narratives we consume every single day? Out to your own music.